Hi everyone, my name is Dakshita and I am your social science educator on Study Room. The chapter that we will be starting in this video is chapter number 2 of Economics Class 9, People as a Resource. First, let's understand this word resource. What do you understand by this word? Resource basically means supply of something or any kind of equipment which can be useful for somebody or which can be used for making something. So, we in this chapter are going to study about such resources. You must have heard about natural resources like water, coal, artificial resources, and natural resources. But in this chapter, we will be studying how people or as individual minds can act as a resourceful person, how people can be resourceful. So let's start. Very first topic here is population as a resource. First, population term as a very resourceful contentment. Let's study how. Okay, so basically population becomes human capital. Okay, population is what? Group of humans. Okay, number of humans present in the country. So population becomes human capital, and when investments are made in the sectors which is required to humans. Now, what are the sectors that a human require? They require healthcare center, they require training, they require education. Okay, so this comes as human capital. All right, um, a country's people, when a country's people are being talked about as resource, it means that we are not talking about their numbers. It does not mean that we are talking about an individual here. It means that we're talking about the productivity, the skills and ability of this person to develop society or make a change in the society. Okay, we see so many innovations coming in, we see so many developments happening. It's not because of any machinery or any resource, it is because of a human brain, a human ability to do something. Okay, so that is human capital. Now you figure out which capital do you think is most important. Do you think investing in machineries are very important, or investing in humans are important? We'll study that in coming slides. Now, our third point in this is development of resources add to productivity power. Obviously, if humans are being delivered what they are need in term of capital, the productivity power will definitely increase. Okay, and it leads to contribution of gross national product. Now let's understand what is GNP, Gross National Product. Okay, GNP is the total value of finished goods or services provided by a country within 1 year. Okay, so whatever goods and services a country has provided, okay, be in terms of innovation, be in terms of development, or be in terms of business output. Okay, GNP also helps in measuring the output. It also helps in measuring the output made in terms of business related, made in terms of innovation, or be it development, domestically or abroad. Okay, so whatever output a country has generated business wise um, is known as gross national product. Okay, so like other resources, population, um, human resource is also a very very big and important resource. Okay, a human resource is also like other resource. Okay, we will study more detailing of what are human resource. So let's start. First is, okay, our next topic here is human capital formation. What is human capital formation? Now, investing in humans is very, very important because ultimately machines cannot create, cannot design or formulate any idea. Machine cannot think. They do not have the ability to think, right? So the ability to think and to create is only by a human brain. Okay. So investment in human capital is made through education, their training, and healthcare facilities. Okay. And this investment is similar to investing in any physical capital. For example, if a person is educated, they are trained, and they are looked after healthcare facilities, they will be asset to the country. Okay. So if you come to conclusions, you will understand that human capital is the most superior capital as compared to other forms of capital, because if, for example, you have land, you have space, you have money, and all the resources that you require to set up a manufacturing unit, but how will you be able to do it? You should have to have human capital for it. Okay. So, human capital is considered as superior than other forms of capital. Okay, because anything, be it land, be it capital, you cannot use it unless and until humans use that. Right? They can't work on magics. Right. So, what is basically human capital formation? Human capital formation is when human resources are developed, okay, and they are giving enough investment that they required via education, healthcare. We call it human capital formation. When we work towards the formation of human capital through these three different eras, their training, education, and healthcare. It is called human capital formation. Okay. Yes, our third major point here is the green and the IT revolutions. Okay, so the green revolution, here we're talking about the green revolution. Um, so green revolution was released in 1916s, which further introduced high yielding variety seeds to increase the productivity or the production of scarce land resources. Okay, so these are basically, green revolution was initiated to increase the productivity of crops. Okay, so this was green revolution. Now we move to India's IT revolution. Okay, IT revolution. So the importance of human being and how can it become more important than material, plant, and machinery is understand by IT revolution. So detailing about IT revolution is, it was born in 1967, and it leads to IT services. Okay, it leads to IT services, and India has started providing software exports. Okay, so this was the development of software exports, which is called as IT revolution. So these two revolutions are the result of human capital. Okay, humans use their ability to think and have created such things which helped a society. Now, what investment is required in human capital? Okay, what kind of investment is needed in human capital? Human capital can, the investment which are required majorly is through their education, the training, and their medical care. These are three very, very important things which is basic and necessity for every human capital. Okay, this yields the same result as physical capital. Okay, why? Because if a human is well trained and well educated, he can further establish his business, which will help in developing the GNP of our country. Okay, so it is same as investing in physical capital. Okay, now, first point is this, the investment part. Second is higher productivity leads to higher income. Yes, definitely. So when individual uh, starts earning good, it leads to a greater impact on the society. So a direct impact on developing human capital. Okay, so one person earns good, he also makes sure that many people with him earns good. For example, if we take here example of Tata Enterprises or any such big company, they are employing people under them who are further generating human capital, right? So somewhere it is making a direct impact. Okay, and third point here is, we know India is a highly populated country, though it is large in as compared to land mass, but then the population is also very high. Sometimes it is considered as India's liability. Okay, but this liability can be converted into asset by investment if human capital are properly invested in the basic areas where it is required. This liability can be turned into a great asset for the country. Yes, so we will understand more detailing of the concept of investment through these two cycles, which we call as virtuous and vicious cycle. Okay, so virtuous and vicious cycle are basically two different cycles which lead to two different circumstances. Okay, so it is the more heavy investment on children's education, nutrition and hygiene leads to productive productive children. Yes, because it is very important to invest in children because they are future, they are considered as future of the country. Why it is always being said, uh, this child is future of the country, this has to be educated or properly nourished, right? So children act as future of the country, that's why it is very very important to train them. Okay, so we will study this by two different cycles. First is virtuous cycle. Virtuous cycle is basically when favorable circumstances favorable give rise to subsequent favorable circumstance. For example, an educated parents will understand the importance of education and will make their child learn on a very good scale, right? So educated parents will invest more on their child's education, so they understand the value of educating their child so that their children can be involved in finding high paying jobs. Okay, whereas in contrast, the other cycle is vicious cycle. Vicious cycle is when unfavorable circumstance give rise to another unfavorable circumstances. For detailing more to it, it is example, uneducated parents would might not be able to afford schooling for their child. Okay, though they might understand the importance of education and their child being educated, but they might not afford schooling for their child, so leaving child to very fewer opportunities. Okay, in contrast, here the child will improve and find high paying jobs, but here when child is not educated, it will not lead him or her to find good high paying jobs. Okay, so this is virtuous and vicious cycle. Next is human capital when natural resources are lacking. Human capital or human resource is more powerful than any natural resource. Okay, let's understand this by the example of Japan. Okay, so Japan is a country which do not have adequate natural resource, which do not have enough natural resource. They have invested in human resource. Okay, but they have highly invested in human resource. They have invested in human education, their training, their healthcare, their nutrition. Okay, so humans in return have made sufficient use of land, capital, and available natural resource that Japan imports today. Okay, so if you do not have direct way to invest in natural resource, you can invest in human capital, which in return will invest in all the things that is required. Okay, so efficiency and technology evolved by people have contributed to countries development. Even though natural resources are not present, but you can still contribute to human capital, which will give you efficiency and technology. Okay, today we hear Japan, the name of Japan today, almost everywhere, be it in IT sector, be it in games. All right. So from this example, we understand the importance of investing into human capital. So this was part one of human as resource. We will continue the chapter in next audio. So this was part one of human as resource. We will continue the chapter in coming videos.